Right, so today I'm going to show you how to make the ginormous scallop potatoes, and they're awesome by any means. So I already started with 10 pounds of russet potatoes. You peel the russet potatoes, or if you choose not to, you don't have to either. I'm halfway through peeling them, realized that all of my peelers are horrible. So I've done half peeled and the other half is going to be not peeled. So you peel the russet potatoes, hopefully they're nice fresh ones, nice white flesh inside. After you've done that, I'm going to move over here. I prefer to use, to slice my potatoes by hand because then you can get nice long slices. However, due to time constraints and the fact that I have limited cutting blades that are suitable right now because I just moved, I'm doing mine in the food processor. So I'm slicing them up. I've got this humongous turkey pan that I find works best. It's a big, giant pan. I think it's about 2 feet long by almost a foot wide. So I'm going to start layering this stuff, so just bear with me here, and I'll be right back. After I put the first layer down, then we'll get to the next step. Thanks. Okay, so I got the first layer of potatoes down, and what I try and do is I try and make sure that there's really no space that remains uncovered, because really what you're trying to do is create a surface that's going to hold in all the ingredients so that they don't just all slip underneath. So the next thing I do after I've done that, and I've got to caution you, this is not a faint of heart recipe, so if you're watching calories or anything, you may want to look somewhere else. So then I put a spattering of pepper in here, just, sort of dust it, a little dirtying. I used to use salt, a layer of salt too, but I've really found that the cheese provides enough salt. And if people want to salt their food, then they can go ahead and do that at a later time, but not on my clock. So once I've done that, and I also wanted to mention the reason I usually peel the potatoes is because I notice that they tend to cook a little better. The peels kind of are, create this little stringy thing, but there's nothing I can really do about that this time. Okay, so once I've done that, then I'll show you the other ingredients that I start layering at this time. I have, sweet unsalted butter and shredded cheese. Now, shredded cheese is the same price these days as block cheese, so that's why I buy a bag of shredded cheese rather than block cheese. And I've found that a mild cheddar tends to not curdle as much when it's cooking. So anyway, I'm going to put that layer on next, and since I really don't have any way to shoot this while I'm doing it, what I'll do is I'll walk you through it. The first thing I do is I usually freeze the butter so that I can cut it up into little pieces easily. And so I'm going to do that next. It's already been in the freezer. And once I do that, I'll distribute a few pads onto, here, and then I'll do another layer of potatoes. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so as you can see, I've put a few spatterings of butter in here, not too many, because there's going to be other layers. So really you just put a few down, sort of network it around, and then you go from there with the cheese. Alright, so now I've put down a smattering of cheese, not a whole lot this layer because the cheese tends to sink to the bottom, so I just do a light layering. And now I'm going to just build another layer of potatoes. So what I'm going to do is do potatoes, more pepper, and in moderation, of course, on the pepper, because it always, it's going to build up. There's more, you're adding more and more. And the same with the butter, and then, the cheese I'm going to start increasing as we get towards the middle. But I'll be back for that. All right. Okay, so there's some of the sliced up butter. I just thought I'd show you that real quick. As you can see, this layer of cheese is a little bit heavier. You can still see the potatoes, but you got to start putting on a little bit more cheese so that it starts intermingling with the potatoes. And it's all about the cheese and the potatoes and all of the other dairy that's going to go into this thing. So going on to the next layer. Okay, so I've got 6 layers of potatoes on here now, and I'm going to put the final touches on, but I wanted to show you what it looks like before I put the final layer on, because I have, see, as you can see, it's all nice and sealed up. And I usually like to put a nice run of the longest potatoes across the top, just because it looks nice. I know, but looks ain't taste. Anyway, just for aesthetics, because it kind of tends to come out nice. But I got to kind of hurry now because my potatoes are turning pink and I don't like that. Okay, now that I have the final layer built of the cheese, potatoes, so it goes potatoes, butter pads, pepper, cheese, potatoes, butter pads, pepper, cheese, potatoes, butter pad, pepper, cheese, on and on and on. I've got 6 layers in here. This thing is, I don't know, here's my finger, so I guess it's about 5 inches deep. So here's the next thing that you do to really kick this up a notch. So I used to use heavy whipping cream, and that was really, we were starting to get a little more health conscious in our family. So I started using this fat-free half and half. I found that it works about the same. This is a quart, and what I do is I just pour it, find a good corner. This one looks good. And I start gently pouring it in. And basically, I'm going to pour the whole thing in here. So, or at least until I can have just a little bit left for my coffee. Because, you know, coffee is it, right? Alright, well I just poured the whole thing in. So, in summary, there is probably about 9 pounds of potatoes in here, half a stick of sweet unsalted butter. There's 2 pounds of cheddar cheese in here, you know, a good amount of salt, or pepper, not salt, and a quart of fat-free half and half. So now I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to stick it in the oven at 375 for about an hour and a half. Okay, so it's in the oven now. It's going to be in there for about an hour and a half. This is the surface area that I used to make it. As you can see, it's remained relatively clean. This is not a very messy process. And, you know, the kids love it. Family loves it. There's always leftovers. Everyone gets to take some home. So now we'll just wait. And then when it comes out, I'll show you what it looks like just on TV. Okay. Okay, so the potatoes have been in now for about an hour and 15 minutes. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to crank it up to 500 degrees, leave it on the same rack that it's on, and stick it back in for some browning. Okay, about 15 minutes browning at 500 degrees, and there you have it. The most awesome, ginormous scalloped potatoes ever. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I guess that's about it. So 8 to 10 pounds of potatoes, 2 pounds of cheddar cheese, about a half stick of butter, some salt, no salt, excuse me, some pepper, and a quart of non-fat half and half. Have a great whatever you cook them for.